Hi, friends, and welcome to Self Meets Soul, a podcast where we discuss how to discover what sets your soul on fire and modern ways to integrate spirituality into your daily life. My name is Juliana, and even though you're hearing this episode in September, it is 3 days before my birthday when I'm recording this. I was born on the Lionsgate portal, so 8/8. So I am embodying big Leo season energy, which means that today we're diving into how to channel your highest self through embodying your worth on your quest for confidence. Now, you don't need to be a Leo in order to feel this energy, okay? If you have any Leos in your life, I don't even need to go too deep into this because, you know how those Leos are. But what we're going to be talking about is why confidence is not just integral on your spiritual journey when it comes to, having faith in your practices, but it's important to have that confidence within yourself because it totally impacts the energy that you feel and that you're admitting to your environment. Now, if a certain person came to mind when I mentioned Leos, you probably already know where I'm going to go with this, but first, we need to talk about the difference between being confident versus being cocky. I know a stigma that Leos have besides, being the sun and energetic and just radiant and all that Leos are cocky. And I'm totally not going to deny this. Your girl has a big head sometimes. I think it's gotten a lot better as I've gotten older. But it is important to not let the ego take over and let confidence become cocky, because it definitely can get into that realm if you're not grounded. So the difference between being confident versus being cocky is cocky will sound like I need to prove myself because I know that I can do it, versus I am enough. It's about knowing that you want to be the best version of yourself for you and for the good of the planet, not so that you can think you're better than everyone else. And I've talked about how that can be a common challenge on the spiritual journey as well, to kind of let the ego take over and think, oh, I'm better than all of these other people in my life because they're not on this journey, or they think differently from me. They're not quote unquote awake. But that is really coming from the ego, because at the end of the day, what cockiness and a highly driven ego really is coming from is a deep-seated sense of insecurity. These people that you might be thinking of as I talk about this, who maybe they just have an insanely cocky way about themselves. They think they're the best at their job. They think they're more attractive than the average person. They consistently treat people who they view as less than as beneath them and not worth their time or energy. Those are people who are coming from a deep-seated sense of insecurity. They dislike themselves on the inside and they are projecting that to their outward environment. Let's just look at an example here that we're probably all familiar with if you are online at all. Beyonce, okay? I'm also saying this because I went to Beyonce's last show in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. Or last weekend, 2 weekends ago. Anyway, she's fresh on my mind. But Beyonce is a perfect example of somebody who is confident. She has so many lyrics in her songs, I'm that girl, for example. She says, I'm one of one, unique. She knows that she is, quite simply put, that girl, right? And she embodies this confidence energy that lets you see that she is on this journey for her, and because this is her passion, and she is spreading this energy to other people, other women, and kind of letting that radiate that. And you see that when that's on stage. However, someone who's cocky, what celebrity do we know that comes to mind? Kanye West, right? He is someone who is not confident. He is cocky. He thinks he is the best of rap and no one will ever be to his level. He's called himself Jesus. He thinks he's God. That is someone who is very clearly cocky and not embodying confidence, because his time isn't spent on uplifting the energy of others who maybe he thinks are beneath him or whatever. It's more so about proving why he is the best and talking down on others, especially some marginalized groups, right? And again, it doesn't take much to tell the difference when you are out and about between a person who is confident versus cocky. The confident person has an aura that surrounds them that is just that Leo energy I kind of talked about, that pure white or yellow light. They walk with their head held high, and they do things for them, not for the sense of pleasing others. And that's why embracing this confidence and coming back to yourself is so important on your spiritual journey, because your highest self is confident. Your highest self doesn't worry about how others might perceive them. They are truly embodying their worth and who they are at the soul level. Now, that's all fine and dandy, right? It's all easy to say, like, be confident. Just be confident and your life will get so much better. But as we know, there is the doubt roadblocks that get in the way of this. There are things that are in our society, that are in your history, that cause you to be insecure, that cause you to doubt yourself. And a common doubt roadblock is childhood conditioning. And this can develop into the inner critic. I'm actually reading the book, Embracing the Inner Critic, right now. I will put that in the show notes, but it talks a lot about this stuff. So childhood conditioning, we aren't born thinking that we are less than. We aren't born thinking something's wrong with us. We aren't born constantly being afraid of how we're being perceived, how other people feel about us. We don't think about that one awkward thing we said to that one girl at dinner like a couple months ago and harp on that. These aren't natural things. Conditioning throughout your childhood has made you become fearful. It has caused you to be insecure about things that you once were never insecure about. And there really is no way to avoid this, to be honest. Like, that is just life. You're going to go to school and someone will say something not nice to you on the playground, and that thing is going to stick with you. I even remember when I was still a kindergarten teacher, a boy in my class had told one of the girls at recess that she was fat, and I didn't hear it, but she came up running to me, like sobbing, and I low-key lost my cool because I was like, you need to sit out for the rest of recess. You never speak to a girl like that. Like, that is completely unacceptable. I probably didn't handle that in the best way I could have, but my first thought was, this is going to be a core memory for her, and she's not going to forget this, and the next time she looks at herself in the mirror, she is going to have this thought about her body now, and she's only 5 years old. I had a friend who had a boy bully her when she was younger, I don't know, maybe in like 4th grade or whatever, and just make a comment that she had a mustache, and then she went home that day and took like a disposable razor to her face and accidentally like cut her face. Do you think she was looking at her face any kind of way before that? No. The sad but real thing is, I bet that you listening to this can think of a moment where something was said to you in your childhood, either from somebody at school or even someone in your own family, right? Something was said to you that stuck with you, and then your inner critic's voice got a little stronger and made you think, this is wrong. This is something that's wrong with you. You either need to hide this or you need to change it, and just don't show anyone this part of you because it's not acceptable. That voice stole away that confidence when you were younger. I was told when I was really little that I cried too much, and that had me develop a voice instead of thinking my emotions are my superpower. Like, wow, look at how empathetic I am and how in touch with my feelings I am and how I can tap into this. Like, things that I now realize as an adult are actually a gift and are what allows me to connect to so many people. That was being told to me like that was a bad thing. When I moved to California, and started my sophomore year of high school, I remember my dad, and no shade to him, because a thing to remember, like, especially when, parents have said some of these things to you, it's not always coming from a negative place, right? Like, sometimes they have their own childhood conditioning that brought up an inner critic in them that they want to make sure maybe you don't go through, so they try to get ahead of it ahead of time, right? But I remember my dad had said, like, try not to be so weird. And I was like, that was an interesting comment. Like, I'm 15, so I'm very well aware I was a teenager, and I'm like, I don't know what he means by that. Am I a weird girl? Yeah. Have I been told by exes that it's okay to be weird because I'm cute? Yeah. But everyone is allowed to be weird in their own way. But obviously, we all know there's a there's a spectrum to that socially. Weirdness. How weird can you be? And maybe in my dad's eyes, I was a little more weird than what was socially normal going to a new school. I don't know what he thought I was going to do, to be honest. In my head, I was like, you do realize, like, obviously I'm so weird at home because it's home, but things like this are things that can tend to stick with you and steal that confidence away. So maybe think about, when did you first feel like you were less than? Maybe something came up right away, when I was talking about this, or maybe this is something you could journal about later as well. Another roadblock that causes doubt and that steals your confidence, can't talk about confidence without talking about this, societal programming, that social media perfect life you see. Everyone posts their best moments on Instagram, okay? Of course, there's gonna be maybe those influencers or whatever who post themselves crying or something really hard that they went through. And sometimes people do that, right? But for the most part, social media has gone from being something that you're just sharing your inner thoughts and feelings without any care. If you think back to MySpace, if you're old enough, or early Facebook years, Tumblr, it has morphed into showing off your perfect life. So when you get on Instagram and you're seeing everyone and their mom getting engaged, when you see that girl or guy from high school or college and you're like, how do they have that body? Their body is literally unreal. Spoiler alert, it definitely could be unreal because Photoshop is the thing, right? Those are little things that chip away at our confidence. We have no business as humans being able to see so much of other people's lives and so much of other people's lives through this fake filter. Not only do we know things that we wouldn't have normally known otherwise, but we are seeing things and things are becoming normalized that probably wouldn't have been if it weren't for the internet. The beauty industry has always had a power over society, right? Women especially. I mean, it's the number one most profitable industry. I mean, it's either that or big pharma, but that's a whole different thing. And with social media and all of this, the beauty industry has been able to take off at a really fast level and really fast pace. So you see things of girls who have the perfect beat down, right? Their makeup is on fleek. And I can't believe I just said on fleek. That really just showed my age, didn't it? But we're going to keep that in anyways. But why was makeup even invented? To make women or whoever is wearing the makeup feel more beautiful and feel more confident. And don't get me wrong, I like putting on my little makeup routine. I say little because I don't know very much. My best friend was putting my makeup on until she literally moved away for 6 years. So I feel so cute when I have it on, right? But at what point are you putting that on to act as a mask because you are not okay with what is underneath it? And again, I'm facilitating this episode, recording it right now as a confident expert, right? I've always considered myself to be someone who's confident throughout childhood into adulthood. However, that doesn't mean that when you're confident, you're immune to moments of insecurity or moments of feeling less than. A moment of raw weakness here that I'll share is that I was getting my lashes done, lash extensions for a bit, and I, out of nowhere, got an allergic reaction. I went to the same person, they used the same glue, same, lashes and everything, and I just got a random allergic reaction and had to get them taken off. They were really itchy, and I obviously didn't want to get pink eye or a sty or anything like that, so I got it taken out, got them taken off pretty quickly. I remember I got them taken off and I went to my ex's house, and I mean, he wasn't my ex at the time, but I got there and then I just started crying, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I said I feel ugly now. And I knew in that moment that was a problem, that I didn't want it to ever get to the point where I felt like I needed something on my face to feel pretty. But that is unfortunately the way that things are trending societally right now. Like filler has run rampant. Like the lip filler, the cheek filler, first it was the BBLs and now those are out, but it's like now people are doing things to their face and it's altering people's faces. People come out looking like a completely different person, and that is not rooted in confidence. It's just not. This might be a hot, controversial take that, I may get roasted for, but this comes back to the confidence versus ego. There's a difference between putting on makeup or dressing a certain way because it helps you embody your best self. So the way that things are getting over the top now just goes to show that society is moving in this direction where we have said, oh, this is what's beautiful, so look this way, or you are not beautiful. So when you are looking at social media and you're seeing people's perfect, I'm saying that in quotes, life, when you are considering doing surgeries to your body, your face, ask yourself, from what place is this coming from? Will doing this help me become the best version of myself, or am I doing this because it's coming from a place of insecurity and feeling less than? Another roadblock that shows up on your quest for confidence is getting imposter syndrome. So those are those thoughts that come up when you are doing something you're passionate about, when you're starting a new job, when you're moving somewhere new, whatever it may be. You're leaping into something different. And you're thinking someone else is better at this than me, so I shouldn't bother. Or why does anyone care what I have to say? Having true confidence means knowing that, here I am bringing up Beyonce again, but she is just the best example for this. Knowing that you are one of one. You're the only one. Don't even try to compete with me. Just had to throw in that Alien Superstar intro in there. But in all seriousness, I'm sure I've talked about this on the pod before. I know Antonice has been a guest and talked about this. There is really only you. There is no one who has had the exact life as you. There is no one with your energetic thumbprint. There is something about you that someone else could learn from and really resonate with. So having that confidence means trusting in yourself. If something is calling you, it is meant for you. It doesn't matter if other people aren't receiving it the way you might want them to. Maybe you're not getting that many TikTok views. Maybe you're not getting that many Instagram likes or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Because when you have that true confidence in yourself, you know that, hey, this will reach the right people it's meant for when it's time. And the last roadblock I'll talk about is perfectionism. Perfectionism is a really quick way to get rid of your confidence. Perfectionism is thinking it has to be 100% right or I failed. Or this one I'm definitely guilty of, I only want to do it if I have zero doubt going in. I have always been someone who does not like to try new things, to be quite honest, unless I have a pretty good feeling that I'm going to succeed at it. But there are stories we tell ourselves that put out that energy that gets in the way of us achieving that confidence. For example, I have been told growing up, and I have told myself growing up, therefore, developed that inner critic, that I am not a creative person. My friends have heard me say this, and they have, talked me off of that ledge, right? Again, being confident doesn't mean you never have these moments of insecurity, right? So I've always told myself this story that I'm not a creative person. So anything that I've wanted to try in that realm, I have not even bothered because I know that it's not going to turn out how I want it to. I was painting with my friends and we were talking about this, how I love the act of painting. I think it's so healing and it's just so fun to me, but I tend to not do it because what I envision in my head is not what comes out on the canvas, so I don't want to try it all. But if you're someone who suffers from perfectionism, have you ever asked yourself, who set up these standards? Really? Did someone ever tell you, oh, if you don't get an A or at least an A minus on this paper, like, you're bad at school, you're dumb? Did someone ever tell you, oh, that painting doesn't look exactly like an apple tree, so you're not good at painting? Chances are no one's actually told you that. If they have, screw them. But if they haven't, I'm gonna take a wild guess that you were the one who put that expectation on yourself. So confidence goes from it needs to be perfect to this is my version of perfect, so therefore it is complete. And again, remember that confidence is spiritual. This is something worth attaining and striving for and embodying on that journey to your highest self. Because like we talked about, when you take that confidence and you make it part of your life and you make it a mission to become more confident in yourself, there is a frequency, an energy frequency that you will emit to people around you. And that's when those unexpected blessings start to come into your life. That's when manifestation starts to come more easily. Good example, if you watched Love Island this most recent season, Amaya, and I feel guilty because I low-key was like shading on her a bit because she is just a very loud New York personality, right? She was 1000% herself, and that's not why I was shading her a little bit. Probably that insecure part of me that was judging her for so freely expressing that confidence and energy on national TV. I've been doing a lot of shadow work lately, guys, so we're over here learning things about myself in ways that I can be even more confident, right? But she was unapologetically herself, and what was the reaction? If you didn't watch it, I'll tell you. Like, she was voted like the most liked person on the show, and she ended up winning the whole show. Spoiler alert, sorry. But she emits an energy that is confidence, that is unapologetically herself. So you can also tap into this energy by visualizing your aura expanding when you enter a room or speak. Have confidence that you are bringing in this light, this positivity, this good vibe when you walk into a room or when you're engaging with other people, and that will actually strengthen and expand your aura. And also be grounded in what you believe. Stand on business. It's not clocking me that I'm standing on business, is it? I had to say that. I've been saying that literally for like a month now. But it's so true. Like, stand on business. Be grounded in what you believe. A true confident person isn't easily swayed. They have such a strong center, a strong belief in themselves and their mind and their power that they don't need to explain themselves, and they don't need to easily fall into traps from what other people might want them to believe. Mirror work can also be really powerful. When is the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror? And I don't mean like you're putting on makeup, you're doing your hair. Like, when did you actually look into your own eyes in the mirror? Not judging yourself for what you see, not making judgmental comments on how your body looks, how your face looks. Oh, I just need to do this, this, and this to my face, and then I'll be cuter. Like, when's the last time you actually looked at yourself in the eye and saw yourself through the lens of other people? Actually try to look into your own soul and see yourself as a being. It is very emotional to do. I literally just did it last night, and you might get, worked up, because when you look at yourself like that, you are seeing yourself as the perfectly flawed human you are. And when you're looking at yourself like that, all you do feel is love. You can also practice affirmations while you're looking in the mirror. I am worthy of being seen, loved, and heard. I am beautiful. I deserve joy simply because I exist. My presence is powerful. Those are just some ideas, but of course, coming up with your own affirmations is equally, if not more powerful, right? And if you are, kind of into the witchy stuff too, crystals that you can use for when you need a confidence boost. Some good ones are citrine, sunstone, and carnelian. So how do you know that you're actually growing in your confidence? When you start setting boundaries easily, instead of having that back and forth, that guilt, you are truly finding your confidence when you set those boundaries and you don't feel the need to explain yourself so much about it. When you take up space without apology or shame. This is my favorite way that I feel like I embody confidence in my life. I am who I am, and like it or don't, that's just me. Like Amaya in Love Island said, if I'm not your cup of tea, don't drink me, right? When I'm out and about, I don't feel guilty for talking too loud. That's part of my Italian culture. Don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel shame for having a loud laugh. I don't feel guilt for being a physically affectionate person to family, friends, all loved ones. I don't feel awkward dancing in the middle of the bar when no one's dancing, or my friend's talking about some hot man behind her and I turn around and look at him. I don't feel guilty or shame for any of that. And you know you're growing in confidence when you feel calm in moments that used to trigger insecurity. When you can look at those people, especially head on, and see, what is it that I don't like about these people? And is it because I see myself in them, or because they have something that I want? You look at people who you consider more spiritual than you and you get jealous, or you think they're a fraud, or you judge how they practice their spirituality. That is coming from a place of insecurity. But when you can look at these people in your life and know why they trigger you and realize that it's really because of you, it's nothing about what this person is doing. It could simply be, wow, they have this trait that I am saying I don't like, but deep down it's because I have that trait too and I don't like that about myself. When you can see that, removing the judgment, removing the need to feel hard on yourself about that, that's how you know you are stepping into your confidence and into your highest self. So what I really want you to take away from this is that moments of insecurity, moments of doubt or hesitation, that doesn't mean that you're not a confident person. But when you step into who you really are unapologetically, when you take up space no matter where you go, when you remove the masks that make you feel like you need to look a certain way or present yourself emotionally in any type of way to others, that is when you're stepping into your confidence. And your confidence isn't something to find, it's something to remember. That's all that I have for you today, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, please be sure to leave a comment or share this episode with someone you know. You never know who might resonate with it. Chat with you later.